Hello, everybody. Welcome along. My name is Benjamin Bloom. This is the Benjamin Bloom Football Channel. Sorry, as you can imagine, with it being an hour to deadline day, my phone will not stop bleeping, but we will try and bring you up to date with everything as it happens. The plan here is to try and go over the deals, the last deals that are going to get done over this hour. I suspect we will get a couple of announcements. And as we go through, we'll do a little bit of a sort of review of everybody's business through the window with the caveat that they could still do a deal for the next, what are we talking now? 57 minutes. So I've got Sky Sports up there and they've actually got a ticking clock on there. So what we will do first, well, first of all, let's just say hello to the comments. There's Jay. Matthew is here. Chris, Harry is asking me about Wilson. Jay is here. SFC Mike, QPR Forever, Sai, Jason, Anir, and Alice there. So we've got plenty of people in the chat to keep me updated as we go. And we can start to do thumbs up, thumbs down. Brentford had a $1 million offer rejected on Wednesday for Barry Bannon. It says QPR accept bid for Swansea defender Ryan Manning. It's all going to happen in the next hour or so. Right. Let's have a look and just catch up with what has happened today. There's all sorts of rumours coming in. Some lovely ones here. Look, Grzycki to Forest. Harvey Elliott. I don't know where that would be. That's a Blackburn shirt in there. Swansea is a bit of madness at the moment. Eli's a Barnsley fan. Jay's just sent me Corley Woodrow's trolling on the internet there. Annie says Ben Rama. Look, if you watched my predictions video yesterday, I said there is a scenario where they can't sort it out by 5 and they'll do a loan with an option to buy. Go figure. That's exactly what's going to happen by the look of it. So, right, let's try and have a catch up. I've got the Sky feed on the split screen here. So we'll just go through from last night. Carl and Grant, we'd been expecting that one for a long, long while, hadn't we? We think about 15 million quid for Grant. That had been holding up a lot of things we thought that might facilitate either Charlie Austin going out or Ken Zahor going out down to the Championship. Neither of those deals have happened yet, but we still have 55 minutes now. It's who's going to blink first with their announcements. So we come to this morning. Cardiff are in advanced talks over Harry Wilson. I'm sure there'll be a few suitors for Harry Wilson for sure. We've had him on loan in the Championship prior to this season at Hull and at Derby County as well. Nothing has been confirmed for Wilson yet. Man City are ready to send Matt Smith out on loan. I don't believe there's anything happened on that. Liverpool been tipped to make a Friday transfer swoop to Watford keeper Ben Foster. There we go. Of all the Watford players expected to go out, we didn't expect it would be Foster, so I shouldn't expect that one will happen. Let's move on here. Not interested in that. We are interested in that one, though, at 8:51. Liverpool have agreed a deal with Barnsley for Herbie Kane for 1.25 million. So Kane went on loan last season. Where did he go? Was that Hull or was it Doncaster? I can't quite remember. Does it say there? It doesn't. Also, strong interest from Hull. So Barnsley in for Herbie Kane. They still don't have a manager. So sporting director doing business there at Barnsley this week in terms of Callum Britton, Killian Ludovic out as well. Herbie Kane also coming in. One above that there, look, Casey Palmer on loan from Swansea to Bristol City with no option or obligation. I think there's definitely a player there in Palmer. Look at that, 3.5 million they reckon he went there for. I do not believe that one has gone through just yet. But, well, Dean Holden's kind of cleared out Eliasson and Palmer with rumours of Jeju as well. There's only 53 minutes left. But some sense that the a few of the underachievers, possibly with an option to go out. I don't think we've had anything on Palmer yet. Butland headed for Palace. Well, we said that might be a thing as well yesterday, didn't we? I didn't think it would go as low as £500,000, though, which seems to be the fee. We've said for a while, Butland may just need a change of scenery. Josh King is a Bournemouth player. No offers on the table. Doesn't look like anything happening there as of this morning. Quiet day at Ipswich. Well, in other news, water is wet. QPR, one more sign. I don't know if that's happened. I know Kelman came in yesterday. We're not interested in MK or Ozil, sorry, or Arsenal. QPR forward Paul Smith set to join Charlton on loan for the rest of the season. So Smith out there from QPR. Liverpool and Cardiff agree Wilson loan fee at 10:30 this morning. A £1.2 million loan fee. Neil Harris was relentless in his pursuit of Harry Wilson, who, as I've said, we're very familiar with in the Championship. I'm going to keep scrolling. There's an interesting one that'll prick up a few ears at Derby and at Sheffield Wednesday. Jack Marriott in on loan for the season from Derby, leaving Derby, who brought in 34-year-old Colin Kazim-Richards yesterday, leaving me to think, surely in the next 51 minutes, Derby are going to do something up front. But, yeah, they've let Marriott go out. If Derby don't bring anyone in, that seems silly. But it's a good move for Marriott because consecutive managers have now sort of played him up front on his own and it hasn't worked. He will get to play in a front two with a more powerful striker at Sheffield Wednesday with Gary Monk and James Beattie. So it probably would be a good deal for Marriott, but it remains to be seen. And we're doing Derby on the watch along later, but they've got no strikers now, Derby. So surely something is going to happen on that. Let's keep scrolling. Fulham winger Anthony Knocker. We've been talking about this for days now, haven't we? That hasn't been done yet. We're still waiting there. Knockout to Forest. That's a likely one, isn't it? Barry Douglas, permanent, Leeds to Blackburn. Remember, Douglas was at Wolves, got promoted with them, then went off to Leeds and had some injuries, but never really got into the Bielsa first team, did he? Out he goes to Blackburn, who I think that we're going to talk about Tom Tribal as well in a bit. I think Blackburn have had quite a good day in terms of actually improving their first 11, which is the name of the game. We'll come to some of your comments in a minute. In fact, why don't we come to some right now and we'll continue to scroll. Derby for Zahor. We expected Zahor and Austin once Carlin Grant was done to happen, but there we go. 500 for Butland is a steal. It is if they can rehabilitate him. Wednesday signed Marriott, another striker who can't score, says Chris. Butland going to Palace as backup. Yeah, that will be a backup deal, but hasn't gone through yet. Martin says Luton doing some really good business. We'll talk about Joe Morrell as well in a little bit. QPR Forever says Ote's gone out to Stevenage, Smith to Charlton, Shadipo to Oxford. So some good business by QPR in terms of getting some minutes in some of their players. Yeah, Jay makes a good point there. Deals can be done after 5 o'clock if the intention to sign is presented before 5 p.m. and we will hear about those letters of intent. So we will know. So they can announce after in terms of Hugo's question there. Right, let's keep moving along. And we'll go back to the split screen. Sky have got a reporter outside Bournemouth Stadium, but it doesn't look like anything's happening there for him, bless him. Gone all the way down there. Brentford still want Bannon. That was at 11:10 this morning. Can Flint light Wednesday's fire? I believe that deal is going to be done further up the page, so we'll leave that for a second. It's been quite a good day for Wednesday, I think. Charlie Mulgrew, well, Mowbray's been trying to get him out for a while now. He obviously doesn't fancy him. Fleetwood looking like the close destination for him. Yannick Balassi to Middlesbrough. Warnock would love him, wouldn't he? Absolutely love him. There we go. Leeds, bit of fond farewell to Barry Douglas that we've spoken about vaguely there. I'm going to keep scrolling to get to the top. We're just looking at the championship ones. Don't think I'm ignoring anything for any other reason than that. Mark Robbins says no incomings at Coventry. They're fairly settled. Spurs Swansea remain in Rodden talks. That's gone a bit quiet today, hasn't it? So we'll see what happens there. Barnsley signed Kane. No, not that one. Yeah, we knew that one was happening. 1.25 million for Herbie Kane. Rovers land Tribal on loan. I think that's quite a good signing. Tom Tribal was pretty good for Norwich. Obviously, there's been some kind of falling out or issues or whatever there, and not in the Norwich central midfield anymore. They've signed Skip, they've signed Sørensen, seems to be players ahead of Tribal. He's gone on loan to Blackburn, where I think Douglas and Tribal for Blackburn, I think that's good business they've done today, depending on whatever fee they paid for Douglas. So I like the look of that. Issues with Ben Rama Medical. So this is what we've been hearing about all day about old Saeed. We'll see if that confirms before 5 o'clock. Looking like it's going to be a loan deal. We're moving quickly through this. Leicester in talks with Luton. This has been mentioned in the comments there. Kieran Dewsbury Hall could join Reece Norrington Davis there in the double barrel team stakes there. Forest have sent Virgil Gomez out to Grimsby. We're nearly caught up, guys. Hodgson, he did actually talk about Butland in a press conference. Nothing concluded yet on that. We're nearly there, guys. Blackburn have approached Liverpool for Harvey Elliott, and Millwall have joined in on Yannick Balassi. Going to be a big old loan fee or wages there, I would imagine. Another twist in Ben Rama medical. David Moyes says it's not the case that Said Ben Rama has failed his medical. Wow. We're not going to find out this until 4:59, are we, with Ben Rama? So there's Ote, which we've already spoken about, going through to Stevenage. Farker says Cantwell and Aarons are staying. Doesn't mention Emi Buendia there. So no Leeds deal for Cantwell. There is Charlie Mulgrew going through at Fleetwood from Blackburn. And there is the confirmation about Flint. For some reason, hasn't worked out at Cardiff. Looked like a most sensible signing in the world. Big strapping centre-half, goes and plays for Neil Warnock and then Neil Harris. But no, I don't know whether Flint's stock has fallen. He used to be the go-to link for championship centre-halves to go and play for a bigger club. So, yeah, Flint to Wednesday, joining Marriott. I quite like both deals, actually. More on Butland there, and talks about Angus Gunn going over to Stoke. So maybe both ends of that deal has to be tied up. Sky's ticker says Ben Rama with an obligation to buy to West Ham, which is basically as good as a transfer, isn't it? Palace also were in for Ismail Assar, who's been one of the big names we've been speaking about. More on Carl Grant there. QPR has accepted a bid for Ryan Manning from Swansea. So that would be an interesting one in terms of Jake Bidwell. But if Manning came in and played left wing back and they did sell Rodden, maybe Bidwell would then go and play left centre back in a 3. I don't know. I'm just speculating there. Jaden Reed joins Bluebirds on loan, so out from Birmingham to Barrow. Harvey Elliott has agreed to join Blackburn, it says, just 45 minutes ago or an hour or so ago. That one, so it could be Reed, Tribal and Douglas in for Blackburn, which I quite like. I'll come to your comments in a second. I think I've nearly caught up now. West Ham still in talks with Ben Rama. More on that Sarr deal not going. Forest Green are expected to announce Odin Bailey. We already talked about Shidopo going to Oxford. We're not interested in Woodburn because that's League One. Rob Dorset there on Twitter saying he's expecting both Butland and Angus Gunn to go through before 5 o'clock. Andrew Shinney out of Luton Town. Obviously, they've brought Joe Morrell in yesterday, so that makes some kind of sense. 1 in, 1 out. And annoyingly there, the Sky counter updates as I go. So Ben Rama hasn't failed. Medical deal can still be done. They are announcing it has been done on Sky. So there's the 60-minute warning. We've done Odin Bailey, haven't we? Wolves defender Ryan Bennett has arrived in South Wales for a medical ahead of a... It's all going on at Swansea. That would really, really put fuel on the Rodden to Spurs fire, wouldn't it? Bennett to Swansea. Surely that would be the replacement at centre-half, and forget my Jake Bidwell rumour that I just said. So, yeah, let's go back to some of your comments on this. Sky are just on an ad break. Someone's trying to sell me some smart insurance here, so we can't actually see their ticker to see if anything has gone through. But let's see what you guys are saying in the comments. Brickan says 45 minutes to keep Rodden, but with my rumory head on there, that Bennett link arriving in South Wales would, you know, that's a 2 and 2 together and make 100, isn't it? Where's the yellow tie then, says Matthew. If you ever see me in a tie, I'm at a wedding or a funeral, I have to say, or at a gig. So there you go. Leeds had an obligation to buy on Augustin. Yeah, fair. Contracts aren't worth the paper they're written on sometimes, are they? There we go. Mollenby is staying at Brighton, says, Chris, is he on loan at Millwall? Or are we looking for a permanent there? Please, Millwall, says Richard, don't sign Ken Zahor. Mollenby love to see him back at the Den. Balassi too much in the wage department and may have to pay a loan fee. And look at the going rate. It's 1.2 million for Harry Wilson for a loan fee. That would be close to the Millwall transfer record, wouldn't it? Depending on what you believe they paid for either Ryan Leonard or Bradshaw. The forward, Jake Clark-Salter back to Blues would be decent. Yeah, that would be a loan, you would think, John, wouldn't it? Sai says, please, God, let someone sign Ben Rama so Villa fans can stop hearing about it. It looks like it's happening, doesn't it? Diss Flint all you like, but he's quality. Probably not talking to me, but I didn't diss him. Harry Redknapp's been sitting in a car park with his window down for 3 hours. Good old Harry on deadline day. I think we've caught up now, have we? Yes. Yes, I play casual. Says Douglas is a good pro and a top championship player. Good signing that for Blackburn. Right. So the things we're waiting to happen here are the Butland. There's a couple of cascade deals, aren't they? The Butland and Angus Gunn deals seem to be linked. We're waiting for Ben Rama to be announced. And we think now that Bennett to Swansea and Rodden to Tottenham might be linked as well. So let's keep our eyes out on that. Van Lapara to Reading as well. You can still find him. Swansea set to sign Casey Palmer. And there was another link to Swansea with Ryan Manning as well. So Swansea looks like the epicenter of quite a few deals at the moment. Does Swansea want 18 million for Rodden? I think that was the price on the previous deadline day, wasn't it? So I think Spurs' last offer was 15 mil. We're seeing a massive shift in age at Luton. Shinnie out 31, Morrell in 21. Like it a lot. Any news on David Nugent to Huddersfield? Wow, that'd be a classic. But I have to say, Carlin Grant down to David Nugent would be somewhat of a downgrade, you would think. Let's have a look now. Shall we start going club by club? Poor Sky reporters' lights keep going on and off there. We'll just have a look and see if there's anyone over on the transfer market side that we've missed out. I'm just going to flip web pages on the other screen and we'll see. Hopefully you can see that if I go to the split screen. Let me make that a little bit bigger, a little bit too small there. We've talked about Tribal, haven't we? We've talked about Kane. Kioso out from Luton to Bolton. Edwards out to Fleetwood, I had mentioned. Curtis Tilt as well out to Wigan. Joe Morrell we've done. Wolf from Barnsley to Notts County. Joseph Soon's an interesting one. Bit of a bust over there at Derby. He's gone into Rotherham. And then you can see Carlin Grant, which is where we had caught up with. Let's go back to your comments. Balassi would be a beast under Warnock, wouldn't he? Just, hey? Josh was good going forward for City, but was always a liability. We've had much better since. You'll have to give me his surname there, Benny. Else I don't know who you're talking about, my friend. Talking about 1,000 players here. Looks like Samuel is staying at the moment. And QPR forever, we look for guides as well, don't we? If they're letting Smith, who's another sort of forward player, go out, then maybe. What do I think about Zohore to Millwall? Yeah, it would make sense. You just can't see Millwall going in for any of these white elephant type players that are going to be on massive wages. So, yeah, we'll see. I'm surprised no one's had a look at Dan Sturridge. Yeah, wages and injury record. Wouldn't it? Swansea in for Ryan Manning, Ryan Bennett, Casey Palmer, Joel Latibaudier, never heard of him, and Fabio Barini. Well, if any more than 2 of them get done in the next hour, this will be a lot of fun. Sky reporting that Watford want 50 million for Sarr. Yeah, that's not happening, is it? If Millwall gets Zohore and Balassi playoffs on the cards, I doubt they'll do either of those deals, will they? With the wages there, Evandro to Derby, we're talking about now. Is he still at Hull? I guess. All these Sheffield Wednesday deals smell of FFP breaking. Well, remember they're being watched very carefully for FFP. So there you go. All quiet at Reading, apart from Van Lipari. They've already done their business over at Reading, haven't they? So it says on the Sky ticker, side Ben Rama to join West Ham on a season-long loan deal with obligation to buy. Not first option, obligation to buy. You were talking about Flint, were you, Benny? Nice. Birmingham loaning. That one got brought up a few minutes ago, Lee, didn't it? Clark Salter would be another good. He's been there before. And Joel Latibaudier is a young centre-half from Man City because they don't have enough players on their books. And they still want their damn B teams down here, don't they? Right. Let's do some thumbs up and thumbs down on some teams' business throughout this summer. We'll leave the teams who we think are still going to be doing some business before the window closes. We'll head up and down the table. I'm just fiddling about on the other screen, and then we will go over. We'll look at Bristol City first under Dean Holden. Well, I don't know if all the transfer window has been under Dean Holden, but for the most part. So this is what Bristol City have done. Give me a thumbs up, thumbs down for Bristol City for their business. You can see there are a few loans out. Joe Morrell for a fee, Rory Holden for a fee. Corey Smith, they would have been disappointed to lose, I would have think. Good player there. And Schmodix, Eliasson, sort of the biggest one out. And we're expecting possibly Casey Palmer to go as well on the outs. On the ins for Bristol City, well, Chris Martin's been superb so far, hasn't he? I don't know how much Joe Williams has featured or Chris Brunt, and Mawson has been good as well. So 2 decent ins for not much money. And they have taken some players out as well. And we're expecting possibly Casey Palmer as well. So I think it's probably a thumbs up for Bristol City. Remember, any team that doesn't have parachute money, they want to basically try and improve their squad and try and bank some money is the name of the game, isn't it? So I think Bristol City have sort of managed to do that, haven't they? So I would probably give them a thumbs up. Let's have a look at Reading. Keep the rumours coming in. I'm still blathering about over on the other screen just to set up Reading. And we can have a look at them. Now, give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down on Reading. So it's Mo Barrow. God, they got Nearly 1.5 million for good old Mo. Gunter, Holsgrove, Adam. So just a clear out of wages there. No fees really coming in there at Reading. So FFP-wise, it's a bit interesting. Ajaria for 3.5 million. That's a good deal. His value will be way higher than that, won't it? Josh Laurent on a free, and he's been playing in the team. Gibson, Semedo, Estevez on loan. So, yeah, I suppose they've put their eggs in the Ajaria basket. And, I would say decent in terms of you don't have parachutes, improve your team and bank a little bit of money. Let's just take a look at your comments. Speaking of thumbs up, please give a thumbs up in that. That's a good point, Matthew. Bristol don't have that big sellable asset. That could be the case, unless someone like Jay Da Silva has a brilliant season or, I don't know, Semedo comes in. But, good point, because they have sold well in the past few seasons, haven't they? Knockout to Forest, says Binky Boy. We think it might well happen. Reading have done good business, but need a winger. Alistair is banging the Ravi Van Lapara drum over here. Let's move on, and we'll drop down the table again, which requires me to fiddle about with the other screen. So we're going to go and have a look at Bournemouth. Remember, Bournemouth, we have to judge on different criteria because they have obviously fallen over one of football's cliff edges, haven't they, in terms of being relegated. So it's all about managing the cliff edge. And my God, look at the amount of money Bournemouth have brought in. Thumbs up, thumbs down for Bournemouth. Look at that. 40 million for Ake, 20 million for Wilson, 18 million for Ramsdale. So the thick end of 70 million there. And then some wages going out. Defoe, Boric, they got their pants pulled down on Fraser, letting that contract run down. And then Smith, Ibe, that was a big fee as well, Ibe, wasn't it? So a lot of players going out for Bournemouth and no one at all coming in. I guess they've just said, look, Jason Tyndall, you've been here before, deal with the squad. We thought Riquelme was going to go to Reading, but he ended up there on loan at Bournemouth. Give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down for Bournemouth, please, there. I guess, given that they had to sort out the cliff edge, then they've probably done an all right job. And look where they are in the table here. Swansea bid accepted for Manning. Is it all going to start happening now at Swansea? Zahor would be good signing for Mill. Need another striker and doesn't get time. West Brom. Chris doesn't want him, though. Alistair's listening whilst playing Football Manager. Love it. Better depth for Millwall with Parrott's injury. Who is Swansea trying to get everyone by the sounds of it? And I think possibly we could see they're playing with money that might come in for Joe Rodden. Jim says, a lot of money coming in. Annie's giving it a thumbs up for Millwall. Matthew says, level of knowledge on this channel is astounding. Well, brilliant stuff. We love it. We love it. Share the knowledge. Let the tide rise. 30 minutes to go for a deal or a letter of intent to be handed in on any deal. We're expecting some stuff to go off, but they're leaving it very, very late. I suspect, there's Ali on the telly there. I suspect we're going to see two deals announced at the same time when they can both get things over the line. You'd imagine paperwork and stuff is done and it is just announcements. Hugo says Sarr for 35 million. If that's the case, he's not going to be going today, is he? David Nugent rumoured. Well, that's concerning. Yeah, there we go. Cardiff lead the race for Austin. Yeah, Chris, Cardiff seem to be doing a lot of loan deals and going for short-term liabilities with their parachute money, don't they? So let's see. Ben, update me on the Premier League deals. The window's closed there, so no one in the Premier League signing anybody from the Premier League, but no one really other than, I suppose, Ben Rama's gone and we're expecting Rodden possibly. A lot of interesting people coming in. Thoughts on Forest getting Knockout and Grzycki. Both would be good. Really need to balance out that squad, though, don't they? What's the deal with free transfers? Can they be done at any time, says Michael? As long as the player is not actually with a club. So if the player is a free agent rather than an actual free transfer, then it can be done. Surely Bournemouth are the least affected by the closed turnstiles. Well, they've done a lot of good sales to get it sorted. So, free agents, as Jay says, can be signed at any time. And Birmingham picked up Jeremy Bella. He was a free agent in sort of November last year. That was an excellent signing, wasn't it? 30 minutes for Forest to take Lansbury off our wage bill. Come on, let's see some deals going through here. I want to see the flashing light up on my Sky Sports thing here. Hopefully the Butland deals go through. It's only going to be about 500,000, Jay, so you're not going to get rich quick off that one. We're expecting possibly Harvey Elliott before 5 o'clock as well. Right. Plucky says, I meant Championship to Premier. Yeah, so Josh King doesn't look like it's happening. Ismail Assar doesn't look like it's happening. Ben Rama looks like it's happened, but we're waiting. And Rodden looks like Swansea are waiting to do something and complete, and then possibly Rodden will get announced. But we've seen these deals go under at the last minute. So don't count your chickens, Plucky Chicken, until 5 p.m. Right, let's go back and look at some more clubs' business throughout the window. We've already done the top 3. I'm going to leave Swansea here in 4th place because it's all a bit mental there at the moment and everything can change in the next 20... What TV programme was that? Anything can happen in the next half hour. What was that, like Thunderbirds or something? I can't remember. Someone let me know in the chat here. We are going to look, though, at Luton and give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down on Luton. Remember, last season they cashed in big style on James Justin and Jack Stacey. So they haven't felt the pressure to sell, having stayed up this season. So no big fees going in there, all free transfers out, a couple of loans in there. So in terms of strengthening, nice job by Luton, I think. Jordan Clark, he's played some football. James Bree, that's a good rehousing of a potentially good player from when he was at Barnsley. Never quite got in the Villa team sustained, did he? Tom Lockyer, well, he's been back up so far to Bradley and the other centre half at Luton, Pearson, whose name I've forgotten. And Norrington Davis, obviously, has been really good. And Morel's come in. I think Luton needs a big thumbs up, doesn't it? Well-run club. No big fees, haven't lost any vitally important players. So, good work. Good work from Luton. Thumbs up from me. Let's have a look here in the comments. Again, if Bennett passes medical, Rodden, that's what we're expecting. Will the dominoes fall? I'm seeing some footage of Josh King. I think he's staying put, though. James says Luton could do with another striker, but the tide is rising at Luton. The team has improved for sure, hasn't it? Thunderbird, Stingray, Delerna, yeah. Swansea, massive thumbs up if we keep Rodden. Give it another 25 minutes. We trust Nathan Jones and the board at Luton. I should think so too, Richard. Great job by that lot. And I think we're all there. Lockyer, Morel, and Norrington Davis. Yeah, I agree. Makes it thumbs up. And good work on the fees. Look, we don't know the undisclosed fees. I wouldn't have thought Clark from Accrington Stanley would have been massive amount. But I think Morel, I've heard anything between 200 grand and £1 million there. So, yeah. But again, like I say, undisclosed fees is just a complete... we get a lot of misinformation, let's just say, on the old undisclosed fees. We're going to talk Blackburn, who I think we're going to give a thumbs up, particularly on their deadline day stuff. I like very much what they've done today. Let me just bring up their current season's transfers. We'll look at the outs first. No big sellable asset has gone out of Blackburn. There, Lutweiler, Graham, Samuel and Smallwood have all gone. So all players that were essentially surplus to requirements. Kaminsky, that looks good, doesn't it? Dolan looks great. He's really had a great start, hasn't he? Ayala's been in the team. Stergiakis is a young backup keeper. Tribal, they've updated there. I like that. If they do Harvey Elliott as well as Barry Douglas today, then it's a big thumbs up from me for Blackburn. The only thing they haven't managed to do is raise some money. But hey, that would be a massive double super thumbs up, wouldn't it? So I quite like Blackburn's dealings there. Get your thoughts in. Keep their Wolves defender, Ryan Bennett is having a medical, it says down in the ticker on Sky. Will that trigger that Joe Rodden deal going through? Could be the biggest deal of the day in respect to the fact that Ben Rama is probably going to be delayed until the end of the season. Tribal to Blackburn on loan. Great business for them. Terrible move from Norwich. Blackburn a definite thumbs up, says Michael. Yeah, I think I agree. Captain Potato says Clark was free, end of contract. Just says undisclosed on Transfer Market. Morel was 200 with a sell-on. We did to them what they did to us for Bakinson. If you do have figures, do quote your sources, though, for me, guys. I'm not saying you're wrong, but it always helps, doesn't it? Nick says Derby need to put... Surely we thought a striker going in at Derby. Who's gone in at Charlton there? Oh, that's Smith from QPR. Paul Smith. We knew that one had gone already. Right. Let's move on. Keep your rumours coming. We are 22 minutes out. We're going to have a look at Watford, where it's very similar to Bournemouth in the business. If you look at the three relegated, it's really only Norwich that have actually, managed to be in a position to spend some cash on some people. Although, look, we're never going to find out what the Udinese deals actually were we? So here's Watford's outs. Again, vast there. And don't underestimate the loans there. Segura, Passetto, Delafeo, Sinclair, Peñaranda, Dawson, Colivas. Don't underestimate how much has gone off the wage bill there as well. And then in terms of fees there, Doucouré for about 20 million, Estupinian for about 15 million, Suarez for about 6 million. So they didn't raise the sort of 70 million. They didn't have a big Ake sale that Bournemouth did, but loads of players going out, and they've used the Udinese link very smartly, haven't they, to retool. They're still loaded because it looks like Deeney is staying and it looks like Andre Gray is staying. Ismail Sarr, well, we might see some kind of weird loan deal go through in the next 30 minutes. Jay sent me a message here. Ben Rama, again, I was asked again to leave Brentford and join West Ham. Expects last details to be sorted. Loan with buy option. That's from Fabrizio Romano on Twitter. Thanks, Jay, for sending that one through. So, yeah, Watford in, Ngakia, Murray. Then the Udinese stuff comes. Paricha, Sirialta. Garner has been playing in central midfield on loan from Man U, so that's good. Troost Ekong, I expect to play a lot of games. He hasn't started one yet. So I suppose, again, for Watford, the proof's in the pudding, but it looks sensible in terms of managing the massive cliff edge, doesn't it? You've got to cut wages, you've got to bring in money, and it's even more an issue this season with COVID and with empty stadiums, although obviously the mitigating factor is the parachute payment should help with that. So I suppose I've got to give a thumbs up to Watford there in that they've managed to raise money without completely fracturing their squad. So let's have a look at Birmingham under Aitor Karanka. So it's been a complete restock here. We'll look at your comments in just a sec. I will just do Birmingham first. Obviously, all the pressure off once Jude Bellingham had gone there, 20 million quid to Dortmund. Jimenez did well to get 2.5 million for him, didn't they? God. And then Magoma and Ndoye, Ground, Stockdale. I suspect Ndoye and Stockdale was quite a bit off the wage bill, I'd have to say. Weaver, Marabti, Truman, Harding, Villalba. That's a shame. I enjoyed watching him. Seddon and Medina as well. So loads out at Birmingham. And really, the entire bones of a new team. We haven't seen Lecco yet, but that's a good fee, I think. Friend, well, he's been playing. He's been playing at centre-half. So is Terrell at number 10. Sanchez has been playing at right-back. Birmingham fans are very enthusiastic about San Jose. Not that we've seen him yet, but he's got a very good pedigree, I have to say. Prieto, well, that doesn't matter because, look, 3 down. There's Etheridge. Clayton's been playing. Hogan, that's a really good deal, depending on the fee, because he fitted in beautifully there. Etheridge. So Birmingham have virtually signed a new team, and depending on how much Etheridge and Hogan were, for I don't know, Jude Bellingham's left shin probably. So I think Birmingham, considering they needed to back a new manager and let him do his thing, I think Birmingham have done really well. That would have been the deal. And again, 2 years running now, they've got good money for Che Adams. They've got good money for Jude Bellingham. So I think Birmingham's business looks pretty smart. Just watch your little piece on Luton, says Nick, as well as Morel. Yeah, we're waiting for Dewsbury Hill as well. Dewsbury Hill, dum dum dum. What is that? Salisbury Hill. Yeah, name that tune. Gaza says didn't rate Lecco at Charlton last season. There's a player there though. I think there's a player there if he gets the right manager. Who's this? That looks like QPR's stadium there. Don't think you're going to see much happening there, Mr. Sky Reporter. Amazing business at Birmingham. 4 mil, Jay reckons, for all the players, and Sanchez looks class. What's wrong with Ben Rama's medical? Haven't heard, actually. If anyone's got anything on that, I haven't heard. Brookan says, expecting a massive relief at 5, only for Spurs to announce Ruddock at 10 past. Remember, we need to hopefully hear about the club releasing the intent to buy. Although, if Spurs have put that in hours and hours ago, then they're not going to release it. So it could go through at 10 past 5 or something. So there you go. How do I think Blackburn will do after this window? I like it, Ben. I like it a lot. I think, again, for every non-parachute team, try and bank some money and improve your team as cheaply as possible. They've done that. Easy peasy. John says, we conceded 75 goals last season, so clear where we needed to strengthen. Yeah, and I suppose the manager was the first part in that. Sai says, Footmob says Hogan was 2.5 mil. And I know Villa wanted that wage off of their liabilities there. Chris says, apparently a blood test for Ben Rama. Interesting. Animation says we could do with a Charlie Mulgrew type signing. Really rate Charlton and Fleetwood's windows. Yeah. As an Ipswich fan, I sit and watch quite jealously about some of those signings. Michael's talking about Angus Gunn. So Angus Gunn could trigger Butland going out to Palace as well, couldn't it? So we're expecting this bounce effect from a few deals here. Still think West Ham are trying to get money off the deal. Could be. Rowdy says, Harry Wilson is magic. He wears a magic hat, and I can't read the rest of your comment, or I'll get demonetised, Rowdy. Don't think Huddersfield have enough time, says Andrew. Yeah, that did all get left a little bit late, didn't it? Rumours of David Nugent, which, as much as I respect the excellent career Nugent has had, is a downgrade from Carl Grant, isn't it? 15 minutes to go, guys. 15 minutes until the window closes. Let's keep on moving. Keep on moving, don't stop now. Who are we down to? QPR. And I don't think we're going to see much more happening at QPR. Let's have a look. Remember, QPR had the big saleable asset, didn't they? So I guess the name of the game was cash in on your big asset and don't let it ruin your team too much. So the net result of selling Eze has to be you bank half of the money, but you improve your team with 3 or 4 signings, because 3 or 4 players hopefully can have more influence than one. Not always the case. I'm just reading a tweet here. Casey Palmer has signed for Swansea. Let me just read the whole tweet. Season-long loan from Bristol City, subject to international clearance. That is my source, is the Swansea official Twitter. Let me double-check that it's got the verified signal. There we go. So Casey Palmer has gone through. The first interesting thing to happen at Swansea in this last 15 minutes. May not be the last thing Swansea tweet out. Yes, so Eze, Hall, Leistner, obviously Warburton wanting a different style of centre-half. Pugh and Rangel maybe cutting some wages there. And I'm quite impressed with how they backed him there. So Rob Dickey replacing those centre-halves. Lyndon Dykes up top, Macaulay Bonne. So he put 2 strikers in and a centre-half, plus George Thomas, Adoma as well. Amos is a young player and Willock is a young player. So I always remember Kieran Dyer leaving Ipswich. We were heartbroken that he went off to Newcastle for 6 million. But then Ipswich signed John McGreal, Gary Croft, Jermaine Wright, and then Marcus Stewart. They literally rebuilt their team on the basis of Kieran Dyer going. So it can happen. So well done, QPR. I think if you would have seen 2 or 3 of Eze, Samuel, and Chair all going, you would have been starting to worry. Let's have a look here at your comments here. Bocker says, fancy Swansea to nick second. Let's see what's happened in the next 10 minutes. There we go. Who sold Dyer? It was George Burley, actually, many, many years before Mick McCarthy. You just wanted me to say that, didn't you? Rangers have done well considering they sold Eze. The likes of Chair have good potential as well. Iain says West Ham are trying to get money off Ben Rama so they can sign King as well. Interesting. Yep, Casey Palmer done. Cantwell is staying put as far as we know, says Daniel Farker this morning. Didn't mention Buendia. So there you go. Mick McCarthy. Harvey Elliott as well. We're thinking hasn't been done yet, but could be another one going over to Blackburn. 12 minutes to go. We'll go through another couple of clubs. Will we get news from Brentford and or Swansea in the next 15 minutes or maybe slightly after? We are talking Middlesbrough next. And I think it was Matthew said it earlier about the big saleable asset. Well, Borough didn't have one really this summer, did they? So let's have a look at what business they did. Yeah, so they couldn't really raise any money for Warnock there. Friend and Clayton and Ayala all going out on frees. Mayas on a loan. Shotton and Gusted. Has he not picked up a club yet, Gusted? Released. You'd have thought Warnock would have loved Gusted. But hey, wages. Adnan George from Birmingham to Walsall has just gone through as well. Borough bought in, and considering they didn't bring any money in, well done, Steve Gibson. Hopefully they're the right side of FFP for the £3 million there he's given for Akpom. Hall, Bettinelli, and Morsey. Roberts on loan. I think that's good because they're all players that will go into the team, won't they? I suspect when this season finishes, all of those players, Roberts, Morsey, Bettinelli, and Hall, and Akpom, will all have played 30-plus games if they avoid injury. So what are you going to do with no Flint or whoever they've done in recent years? Let's keep on moving. Keep on moving on anyway. God, that's 5, isn't it? Dear oh me. I'll try and use a bit of better taste on the name the tune things. Right, we're going along to Millwall, who really did all their business early, didn't they? So we've known about all of these for a long, long while down at Millwall. And the question really at Millwall was, are they going to break up a good team that finished 8th and cash in on, I don't know, Jed Wallace or Jake Cooper? Or are they going to, try and take a step up and become a regular top half championship team now? And the answer was the latter. You can see McCarthy out to Wickham, O'Brien to Sunderland. And then on the other end, Woods comes back on loan, Parrott on loan. Shame we haven't seen him yet. Bennett, who'd already been there, and Malone on loan. But I suppose the key thing for Millwall would be the keeping of Wallace, Thompson, Cooper, Białkowski, the key players of that team last season. So, more sort of a status quo there at Millwall. Moving, just keep moving. Great song that. There's a low, low feel. Yes, we've got Palmer and here. Keep on moving. Colin says, just logged on to an earful of 5. Brutal. Blues. Yeah, we got Adnan George as well. What's Colm saying? How can they send Harvey Elliott out on loan? I'm sure Liverpool haven't paid Fulham any compensation yet. I'm sure that's between Liverpool and Fulham. And 8 minutes left now. 8 minutes left. Lee says, sad to see Morel go. Gutted to see Palmer go. But stunned we haven't bought in another centre-back. Yes. Could have had Aidan Flint back on loan, couldn't you? Hey? The 3-game week returns. More Swan signings incoming. We're all looking at Swansea now, aren't we? We've got the Joe Bennett link. We've got the Ryan Manning link. We're expecting that to be funded by Joe Rodden, but who signs off on the deal first? Everyone wants to say yes at exactly the same time. So, yes, we will see. We haven't had any confirmation on Knockaert to Forest yet. So that could happen. We did have a couple of cheeky ones. I remember last year when they were actually announced the next day, the deal had all been done, but they just waited and actually announced. So, yes, Joe Bennett as well. I meant Ryan Bennett. Sorry, animation. Ryan Bennett. There we go. Look, I'm thinking about 1,000 players at a time, but point taken. Right. Let's have a look. We're on an ad break of Sky going to the last 5 minutes and the window closing. Remember, clubs can still have done deals if they've managed to keep them quiet and announce them. And as long as they've got the intent to sign, I think they can go another 2 hours up to 7 p.m. I know it's 1 a.m. when we do an 11 p.m. window. So, yes, we will finish this stream and there will still be a couple of deals done after that. Let's have a look at Rotherham and get your thoughts in on their business this summer. No big saleable asset out of Rotherham there. Bilbo, Lamy, Yates, Coyote, Tilt, Hull and Cooper going out. Well-run club, Rotherham, so no pressure to sell, really. Income, Barlassa, who's a good age, who they had on loan last season. McDonald, Miller, Johansson and Sadley are all on freeze. Josephson and Hurst and Blackman on loans. Harding is undisclosed. I like it a lot. I really do. If you look, the players they paid fees for are both youngsters. The players they took on loan come from clubs higher than them. And the players they bought on freeze were either reserves or from clubs lower than them. Makes all the sense in the world what Rotherham have done. Fingers crossed for their fans, it could be enough to keep them up. Makes a lot of sense. Remember, Rotherham relegated in 18-19, but I think one of the only clubs to actually make a profit that season, which shows you what a ridiculous state we are in. At the moment, we're still on an ad break at Sky, so I'm going to go over and look at another club. We'll look at Stoke City, who are still in sort of tidying up mode as they go into their last year of parachute payments, having hired Rowett and given him a load of money, and then hired Jones and given him a load of money, etc., etc. Let's have a look at what Stoke have done. So some wage cutting there. A Tabo and a Phobe. It's been a good market for Stoke for getting wages off the liability sheet, hasn't it? In terms of sending them to Turkey. Federici, Diouf and Ward all going. Ward actually playing well for Ipswich. Woods and Dye, Martins, Indy and Edwards all still owned by the club, but sent out on loan. What am I being tweeted? More of this. There we go. Picture this. Sheffield Wednesday. I offer Dunkley, Flint and Patterson. All going to be up for attacking set plays over at Sheffield Wednesday. Love it. Thanks, Russ, for tweeting me that one in at Stoke. Well, have they improved their team? Or have they just added more of the same? You tell me. Jacob Brown, couple of million, youngster. Better profile of signing, I guess. But then Morgan Fox on a free. James Chester, yeah, good player, 31. Stephen Fletcher, yeah, good player, 33. John Obi Mikel, yeah, obviously superb pedigree, but 33 as well. So I'm not entirely sure that Stoke have either raised much money or improved their first 11, but they have reduced the liabilities off their wage bill. Joe Rodden is just getting mentioned there. We're still waiting for the Angus Gunn and Jack Butland thing and the Joe Rodden and Ryan Bennett things to all sort of play out here. Let's have a look at your comments. Sponsored by Sheffield Wednesday Set Pieces. Blues will get a little kickback. It's only going to be $500,000, we think, full fee. But hey, every little helps. Vidra and Austin linked with Derby. We expected Austin and Auzathoth to go out after the Carl Grant deal, but neither has happened yet. Yes, Sarr is still at Watford. Not happened yet. I think we might be looking at January for that one now. Nathan says, can't believe it's 5 years since Cov signed Joe Cole on loan. Classic. Right. Let's move on. We've got 3 minutes to go before the window shuts. We still haven't heard about Harvey Elliott going through to Blackburn yet. That'd be the end of a really good day for Blackburn. Didn't they want 12 million for Butland? Yes, they did. And then he had the worst season of his life. Scott asked about Josh King. We don't think anything's happening there. January, if anything, now. And yes, I think Charlie Austin's wages are very prohibitive to all the championship clubs. Are West Brom prepared to take a big hit on that, or do they just keep him around? We will find out. 2 minutes to go now before the window closes. We're going to have a look at Brentford, obviously with the caveat that Ben Rama, we're expecting a loan deal to be announced. I guess they're all quibbling over the fee. 2 minutes to go. They need to announce something soon, or at least get something in writing behind the scenes. Brentford, we normally just give a thumbs up to without really thinking about it. And again, look at that, 27 million quid in for Ollie Watkins. Brilliant, brilliant stuff from Brentford as ever. Makocho goes out, highly stocked in central midfield. And then look at all those players that are being developed, all going out on loan. So that all makes sense. Incomings at Brentford, Ivan Toney. So you sell Watkins for 27 million, you bring in Toney for 5. Makes some kind of sense. Small downgrade, a downgrade, let's just say, but Toney still could be a very good player at championship level. Charlie Good is back up for Pinnock and Janssen, with Janvier going out on loan. Vitaly Janel, again, we mentioned central midfielders going out. Makocho, I don't know a lot about him. And Saman Godas, I believe that's a loan with either an option or an obligation to buy. So, Brentford, it just depends how much they're weakening their team. We know that they've signed quite well. We know they've brought in a ton of money. But remember, if that ton of money really weakens your team badly, you're going to finish halfway down the table. That's the issue, isn't it? So we'll find out how much Ben Rama and Watkins going out would affect their team. Right, there are 45 seconds left of the window. Remember, though, deals can have been done and not announced yet. And remember, as long as letters of intent have been lodged with the FA before 5 p.m., they've got up until 7 to negotiate the deals. So I guess the headline stuff, if I bring up the transfer market window, Tom Tribal, Herbie Kane, Joe Morrell was today, wasn't it? We're still expecting Harvey Elliott. We might expect big ones with Joe Rodden. We're coming up 5 seconds until the window closes. Leeds United have signed Gaetano Berardi on a new one-year deal. That's great news because he's busted his cruciate ligament, hasn't he? Right, the window is officially closed now, but we'll still expect news to filter through. So we'll keep going, and I'm sure for the next 90 minutes, 2 hours, news will still keep coming through. I'm going to continue looking at squads and clubs' entire transfer windows. We will look next at Preston, who, again, it's been fairly quiet on the Preston front. All quiet on the Preston front there. Hey, I've done this before, haven't I? Outgoing, so no big deal. There was big links with Dan Johnson to Glasgow Rangers for a long while, but nothing doing in the end. No Pearson out, no Ben Davies out. So just Armour, O'Connor, Clark, Simpson, and then Graham Burke on loan. Have they improved their team? Well, if Emil Rees turns out to be their first choice striker, then yes, they have. But when you consider what other people have done, if I'm a Preston fan, I'm I'm kind of thinking, oh, have we been left behind a little bit? And has Alex Neil still got to pull some more rabbits out of hats? Keep your eyes on the news here. Keep me updated. I will keep going through. Let's look at... Oh, Zahor at Millwall. Has that been confirmed? If anyone's got a source on that, that would be a very, very interesting one. Nat is happy with Sheffield Wednesday today. Obviously, Aidan Flint and Jack Marriott going through. And Barry Bannon is going to play out his contract by the look of it. Unless you have a fax machine. Brilliant stuff. You can claim the delay. Yes, Steve Bruce and Harry Redknapp. The fax machine miraculously not working there. Brickhand thinks that the Man City guy's name that I can't pronounce is going to go through as well. Are we still expecting Rodden to be done to Tottenham? And Bennett and whatever his name was, Latibaudiere, going through to Swansea. Casey Palmer has already gone. Tottenham close to agreeing deal with Swansea over defender Joe Rodden is all they're saying. Richard Crawley. Okay. A reputable source is saying, according to Gaza, that Zahor could be going through at Millwall. That interesting, yeah. He's reliable with Charlton and Millwall, actually, Corley. So, and apparently Latibaudiere has been announced on Twitter. What position does he play, Brecan? Let me know. Iorfa stays as well. He's done ever so well. Right, let's move on. Keep your info. If you guys can keep an eye on Twitter for me, especially with those more reliable sources. Generally, a reputable journalist that you followed before would be preferred to, I don't know, FPL transfer rumours or anything of that nature. Right, let's keep on moving down to Cardiff now. We're trying to look at every single team. Cardiff, we've said already, are trying to keep their liabilities only 1 year long. So they've not gone in big on fees, but they've gone in on loan fees and wages with their second year of parachute money. That makes some sense, I guess. Liverpool midfielder Harry Wilson has joined Cardiff on a season-long loan, says Sky Sports Twitter. So it looks like we're going to be adding that one in. No big sales. Etheridge goes as Smithies is holding down the place there. Ward and Bogle, a couple of Warnock strikers they didn't fancy. Patterson out for $500,000 there. And as I say, they've gone for, well, apart from Kiefer Moore, for a couple of million there, which is a perfect striker there for Neil Harris and for Cardiff. You can see there probably decent wages and loan fees to Arsenal and Liverpool for Osai Tutu and Ojo. And now Harry Wilson, who's a very, very good player at championship level. We think that's going to be over £1 million for the loan fee as well for Harry Wilson. Right. Has this gone through now? Jack Butland. Oh, no, he says must be. We still don't know yet. We still don't know. Apparently, the Man City guy is a defender. Thank you. Centre half. Centre back, probably Rodden replacement. Is that not going to be Ryan Bennett? We will find out. Corley Woodrow, new deal there. He was trolling us earlier. I thought that's bound to be Derby's striker. So there you go. Sky's reporter at Bournemouth has gone to the wrong place. He's doing the sum total of nothing down there. No movement there on Josh King or David Brooks out of Bournemouth would have been the ones we expected. Bournemouth, though, as I've said, raised a ton of money, a boatload of cash this transfer window. So they can certainly hold off until January with the parachute payments and the amount of money they have raised. Speaking of boatloads of cash, let's... Noel says, breaking news. Derby have signed no one. Derby signed no. So Birmingham have signed no one. Lewis says Derby have signed no one. Well, wait and see. And we're expecting Zahor to be announced. That seems fairly well sourced now, doesn't it? yeah, we were talking about Berardi earlier. Matthew, a good gesture from the club there. 15 million for Joe Rodney's the biggest robbery since Arsenal took Ramsey for 5 million. Does that mean West Brom have signed Grant? Yes, that went through last night, indeed. Right, let's talk about Norwich and their dealings this window. Norwich went up, did not spend any money, really, in terms of their £100 million Premier League TV money. They have their parachute payment to play with. They have their TV money to play with. They've paid off their debts. And then they've also sold Ben Godfrey and Jamal Lewis. Also, in terms of players that were important to them, the previous promotion, Tribal and Closer there have also gone out on loan. And this is Daniel Farker team Mark II, because they have signed a lot of players. Hugill is a big option, presumably back up to Pookie. But if Pookie doesn't start scoring, maybe he'll start getting some games. There is Placheta, who is a winger. And Ernel Hernandez is going to be out for a couple of months now. So he is going to become important. Kieran Dowell is also out for a couple of months, signed to be the number 10. Bit unlucky with injuries so far. Norwich. Mumba probably won't get anywhere near the team because Aarons has stayed. And Sinani and Soto have also gone out on loan. Ben Gibson has come in on loan. He will play now with Zimmerman, although I think Zimmerman's injured as well. Quintilla has replaced Jamal Lewis, and Skip looks like he's going to be playing all season in central midfield there. So an entirely sort of new spine of the team there for Norwich, but they do still have Aarons. They do still have Buendia. So if he can get his head sorted out and accept that he's not gone to Atletico Madrid or whatever, then they've got, possibly one of the 2 or 3 best players in the division. So it's so hard to say with Norwich because you don't know the effect it's going to have on the team. Thank you, Jay has sent me through Jake Clark-Salter. Apparently that is happening. So who else at Birmingham got centre-half? Harley Dean and George Friend at the moment. So interesting. Some competition there for places. Let's have a look at some of your comments here. I would love to read your comments out. If you put swear words in, I can't click on them. So I'm sorry about that. Yeah, Wilson to Cardiff. That has been confirmed. The window is now closed. We will talk about Flint and Marriott in just a second. Harry Wilson's been the sort of last deal that has been done. Let's move on. We'll keep looking through clubs business through the entire window. I want to do all 24, so I've got it all housed in one video. Keep your news coming. We're still expecting a few more announcements, either deals where they've been completed, but we're just awaiting photographs and stuff to be taken and they'll announce them, or the ones where the intents to buy have been put in with the EFL and the FA, and they've still essentially got until 7 p.m. to actually thrash out the final wordings of the deals. Let's have a little look at Coventry, who obviously went up in first place from League One last season. So you would hope for their sake that no big names had gone out and that they could strengthen an already stable-looking team. And, as you can see, there are no big names at all going out from Coventry. And Gustavo Hamer for 1.35 million. A lot of fun. Already managed to get himself red carded on the telly. Julian da Costa, Callum O'Hare, that's really good business for free. He's going to be worth, well, I suppose £1 is worth more than free, but he's going to be worth a decent amount after a couple of seasons. They've got McCallum back on loan from Norwich, Sheaf, and Tyler Walker. So Østegard as well, and Giles. Østegard, Giles, Sheaf have all been starting. So I think Coventry have done well in terms of, investing in properties that are young that will increase and not losing anyone for big money and using the loan system well. So it's a big thumbs up from me for Coventry. Is Zahor going to be any better than Smith or Bradders? Yes, I would have thought if they play him in the correct way. Obviously, to say he's more mobile than Smith is, kindest guy in jail sort of territory, but he is. Shocked Buendia isn't going there. Ultimately good for the championship. Yes, indeed. As long as he doesn't become a malcontent there in the dressing room at Norwich, they need to just get him to accept that he's there until at least January, and he can be a massive influence on that team and the division. Buendia, Brooks and Sarr all staying, but Benrahma leaving. Yeah, some very good players in the championship. Hopefully we can pull a Dan James on this in terms of Rodden, and the deal doesn't go through. Ryan says 170 million for staying in the Prem is kind of worth it. Well, absolutely. Nice to see multi-year signings from Cov. Got sick of sitting. Yeah, totally. And nice to see Coventry, given all the goings on above the heads of the people there, having a strategy and sticking to it, and it working, frankly. So if only they can just get back into their stadium, then a nice, stable club. We have got just the bottom six to do now, looking at everybody's dealings. And look away now if you're a Huddersfield fan, because we'll do Huddersfield, where obviously it's not been pretty. Yes, I know they are essentially a parachute team, but all the parachute money has gone, hasn't it, with the change of ownership. So, again, if you're a parachute team, well, you should be looking to push home that extra money advantage, but hasn't been the case at all at Huddersfield. And is the team weaker? Well, yes. Carlin Grant out, Steve Mounier out, Elias Kachunga, Joel Coleman, Brown, Buckhorn, Stankovic, Sobby, Hadjianaj, Quainer, Simpson. And the other end, well, to be fair, Pippa looks like a good signing. He's young and he seems to be able to do exactly what Corberon wants him to do. Ward for a free. It's not Carlin Grant, is it? But hey, they appear to not have two pennies to rub together here. So Naby Sarr, it's good business for a free. But look, compared to other parachute teams where you've got Cardiff spending big on loan fees from Premier League clubs, you've got Norwich signing, the better players in the league, Bournemouth and Watford keeping in the main their stars. This is very different in terms of parachute stuff. Eiting might be an interesting one, but ultimately, if he does well, he'll go back to Ajax, won't he? So it's one of those where unless you have an obligation to buy, it'll only suit you well in terms of one season, doesn't it? So, right, 5 to go. Let's have a look. Keep your rumours, and if you see, well, not rumours anymore because the window's closed, but if you see anything coming through from a good source on Twitter, Ben's next stream will be a sing-along of 5 songs. You got the feeling, jump up to the ceiling. You're getting down tonight. Woo! Is Chansiri securing loans against the stadium? Is there a chance the Owls could find themselves in a similar situation to Coventry? Possibly. The difference between Chansiri and Sisu at Coventry is I don't think Chansiri will essentially turn on the club and over-rent back from the stadium. I think he'll let that go and build up the debt himself. But you never know. King Dougie says knockout confirmed. If anyone's got a source for that, let me know. Would be a good old deal, wouldn't it? Yeah, hit the thumbs up, guys, if you're watching in the stream. Right, let's go down one more. Who are we doing next? Who's below Huddersfield in the table? And we'll look at their transfers. Derby, I don't think... Oh, yes. Right, we've got Sky Sports confirming that Knockaert to Fulham has happened. And Knockaert played the best football of his career under Chris Hughton at Brighton. So that is possibly a bit of a game changer there for Forest. You would suspect he will get a tune out of Knockaert. So Knockout through to Forest on loan. Thanks, Dougie. We've got that confirmed now. You were there first. It's really interesting one, that, because Knockout essentially only signed for Fulham. Actually, it might even be this window, so he couldn't be sold full stop because you can't move twice in the same window, can you? But they can certainly loan him out. I don't know how the rules work when it's loan obligation to buy. If someone will have to do the reading up on that one for me. Per Sky, Spurs defender Carter Vickers. Carter Vickers now trying to play for every championship club. Sam Nombe has just gone through, been announced by Luton Town. Intent and option to buy. I love the way they've worded that from MK Dons. So Luton doing some more business there. Let's go and have a look at Derby. And we're going to look at the sales first. Remember, those transfer fees are reported by Transfermarkt. I'd heard Bogle and Lowe was much higher than that, so let's not get into it. Chris Martin out is one that's going to vex Derby fans, isn't it? I think, because they've really been left with no forwards now, and I don't really understand why they've done that. But there you go. We might still get some announcement even after the window is closed. So Derby cashing in on Bogle and Lowe. Josviak, well, that's decent for a 22-year-old. Big fee, 3.87 million transfer market is saying. To Veric, he looks like they want to use him as a first teamer. Edem, Ibe as well. They need to get him fit first. Marshall, well, that's a good signing, but for 1 or 2 years at most. Clark is good and Byrne is good. So they've done some good deals, but you just worry now with Marriott going out on loan. Unless they're going to announce a striker coming in, they seem very light up front. Obviously, could be Jordan Ibe. They've brought in Colin Kazim-Richards, which is a blast from the past. But, hey, we saw West Brom get promoted last season, and all the threat came from the three off the front. So, hey, we've seen it happen before with rotating Hal Robson-Kanu and Charlie Austin all season. So, there you go. And Ken Zahor. Right, we've got a couple more squads to do. And then we will have done the entire last hour of the window, and we will have done every club's transfers. Let's talk some Barnsley. I suppose most importantly to say about Barnsley is they do not have a manager at the moment. So I guess they have a sporting director doing their deals there. They have kept Alex Mowat and they have kept Cauley Woodrow. So that is good news. Let's move across there. Jacob Brown going out for a couple of million to Stoke. And then Radlinger and Pinillos out on freeze. Atchison, Ritzmeyer, Wolf, McGeehan, Sibic, Wilkes, Green. So big turnover, but not necessarily the most important players going out. In terms of coming in, well, their biggest signing's been today, hasn't it? Herbie Kane. So trained at a big club there. £1 million spent. Obviously spent $1 million on Luke Thomas as well last season. 21. Makes some sense to me. Dominic Frieser as well. Michael Hellick. Christy Davis, we haven't seen yet. Aitchison's gone straight out on loan. Britain in as a right wing back, we think, there. And yes, Chris points out there, Woodrow extended his contract today, which is good news for Barnsley fans. So quite focused. If you look there, a couple of £1 million on sort of 4 or 5 players. You're just wondering whether, as the next few windows happen, they're going to have to sell, need to stay in the division because they've started badly, and obviously the manager has gone. So that would be the key at the moment. Yes, I must go back to Swansea. We're still waiting on Rodden and Ryan Bennett and all of that business. So remember when Lazio bought Neto and another from Benfica and instantly sold them for Wolves? Yes, I'd imagine Mr. Mendes had something to do with that, didn't he? Alex says, Taylor, Graben, Knockout. Bet that's a friendly, fun dressing room. And evening to Malcolm, great Nottingham Forest contributor there for all your Forest information. We are still at QPR, but not a lot happening there today. All the business done. Remember, Eze going out early in the window. Right. If you want to laugh, here we go, because we're going to do Forest now, which has just been utter chaos. Let's see what Forest have done this summer. Remind me to add Knockaert on loan as well, which has just gone through. So the big sale was cash, which is great. That's good business. Converted him to a fullback and then took 15 million to the Premier League. Superb. And then Benalouan, Adoma, Bridcut, Watson, Da Costa, Silva, Gabriel, Carvalho, Johnson, Pantilimon, Walker, Steele. So many players going out, it's not true. But if you thought that was ridiculous, then look at all the players coming in. Bear in mind, this is a team that really should have finished 5th place last season and just had that collapse at the end of the season. So, Umbeso, yeah, fine. A lot of money for a youngster, but hey, invest in youth, why not? Scott McKenna, again, highly rated and 23. Bakiru, 30 years old, central midfielder, huh? Ionu, left back from Greece, but he went straight into the team, didn't he? Lyle Taylor, that's good business at championship level if he's back up to Graben. Colback, still only 30, fine. Blackett, well, he's been playing, hasn't he? I expected him to come in as backup. Guerrero, another Olympiacos deal there. Freeman, that's good. Arter, that's good. That's permanent as well. Christie, Cafu, and now Knockaert. So you can't say they haven't gone for it, and we'll see how Chris Hughton will do with that lot. I'm sure he will very, very quickly identify who is being used and who will now be going out in January. Remember, actually, guys, help me out. Is it January? Or have they moved that back, being we're delayed here to October? Because it's not actually that long for the likes of King and Buendia and Sarr to wait, or any Forest players that need to go out. But yeah, just absolute insanity there at Forest. A complete wholesale squad turnaround there. Chris Hughton is no mug, and we know that. Talking Forest, need another hour. Forest are playing Football Manager. I'm doing Forest in career mode. Superb. You have to remember this was Lamouchi's shortlist. Interesting, says Ryan. He pushed for them, then got fired. We'll find out whose signings these were. Were they Lamouchi's? Were they sporting directors? Were they anything to do with Hughton? Well, we know Knockaert would have been. He certainly would have helped with that. Luton signed Ombe from NK Dons. Anyone help out with that? Chris says Rodden agreed at 15 million. Just a case of if Spurs can get the paperwork done in time. Well, they've got until 7 p.m. if the intent is going through. Yes, we will be back at 7:30 for Derby and Watford. So we will crack on with this because Shaylee is back and I'm sure she'd like to talk to me at some point. We've got another couple of clubs to do and then maybe another deal will go through. Let's have a look at Wickham, then Sheffield Wednesday, and then I do need to do Swansea, although we are still laying in wait for a big Joe Rodden deal, aren't we? Wickham obviously have not broken the bank here. Cut the cloth accordingly. Jumbati, Maskell, Mikhail Smith going out. Who's come in at Wickham? Well, sensible business, really. Phillips for a free. Tafazoli for a free. He's probably back up. Stockdale had already been there, hadn't he, on a free. And then a loan, Adinarian from Everton. Undisclosed big Ikpezu, we haven't seen yet, from Hearts. McCarthy, who'd already been there, that's permanent, and Horgan. So sensible signings. If they stay up, they'll be overjoyed, but they can be stronger in League One if they do go down. Let's move on now. I'll keep you on the split screen if I've done that the right way. And I am bringing up Sheffield Wednesday. We've had, I would say, other than Blackburn, have had a nice day. Have Sheffield Wednesday. I'm not sure all of their deals have gone through. No, and Chansiri's been criticised for this massively selling players at the wrong time and not leaving any actual assets, the complete opposite of Brentford or Norwich or Bristol City. But those are all the outs there. Kirby, Fox, Fletcher, Preston, Hutchison, Winnall, Forestieri, knew you. Lots of wages probably cut there, looking at those names, but didn't manage to cash in on any of them. And lots of players in. Windass, Patterson up top there, Adedoyin, Kachunga, Dunkley, Brown on loan, Deli Bashiru, but today, Jack Marriott and Aidan Flint. So a couple of, well, Flint's definitely proven championship. Marriott, when you think about it, actually hasn't proven himself properly in the championship in terms of playing well for, 4 months in a row. But there's still the idea that if he actually gets played in a front two with Monk and Beattie there with a big striker off him, that he'll have far more chance of succeeding than in a Lampard 4-3-3 or a Koku 4-2-3-1. Woo! Right. One more to go. We're going to go back to Swansea, even though we still don't know about Ryan Manning, Ryan Bennett, or Joe Rodden. We'll put them all down as definitely maybes. Tottenham close to agreeing deal ahead of domestic deadline, it says on Sky. That's all it says. So it could still happen. Maybe we'll chat about it in the watch along later on. Let's have a look at the rest of Swan's business. And no big, huge Dan James, Ollie McBurney type sale yet. It could happen before 7 p.m. Otherwise, McKay Gould, Asoro out on loan. Baker Richardson, Van der Horn, that's a disappointing one. Mulder on freeze. Pettersson and Selena, decent money for Selena. Let's see if Dijon can get a tune out of him. Will he cut the mustard? Love it. Jamal Lowe, well, everyone pulled down Wigan's pants in administration, didn't they? Corey Smith, that's a good signing. And they've bought another Bristol City one in Casey Palmer today. And we are still wondering about Ryan Manning and Ryan Bennett if Joe Rodden goes out. I think Manning might still happen either way, but they're leaving it late, put it that way. And the loans are excellent, aren't they? Woodman, Gibbs-White, Guay, and, well, those three for sure. Don't know about Gyökeres, but he's pretty much the only striker in that squad there. Right. We have done all 24 teams. So let's have a look here at your rumours. 11 million plus add-ons from Alistair Gold, says Jermaine on Rodden. We think this is going to happen, don't we? But I think my stream's going to be over before it does. Richard Corley said he believes Dylan Phillips' move is done. Where to, Alex? Where to? Louis Mendes says he thinks it's to Cardiff. Interesting. Luton got Dewsbury Hall. Has that gone through now, Kieran? There are 3 deal sheets for Premier League clubs from Sky. Okay. Remember, there could still be deals that are done that they've somehow managed to keep quiet, despite the fact that, I don't know, every single player seems to be on Instagram giving away their locations at the moment. Let's have a look. Anybody else here? Would Manning play ahead of Bidwell? I suspect he possibly would. So, yeah, we will see on that one. Punk Chef, nice one, Jake. Happy with the deals we've done during this window. Right. Woo! We've done an hour and a half, guys. That was the last hour of the window. And we've done every single championship club. So hopefully there's plenty for me to take out as clips there in that one. I'm going to go and take a break now. I'll be back at 7:30, where no doubt there will be more deals done in between now and then we can talk about. Please, my phone's been going off like every 30 seconds. Please DM me. Oh, Birmingham City have just tweeted it's 5 p.m., but we are not done yet. Is that Jake Clark Salter? I don't know if they've announced that yet. Please DM me on Twitter and Instagram if you get any more deals. Do go through. Thank you very, very much for watching. And I will see you at 7:30 for the Derby Watford watch along. Hope you enjoyed that one. And it is a big thank you from me. Oh, and I'm worn out. A big over and out. See you in, what time is it? See you in 2 hours. Thanks for watching.